Hello, everyone. Andrew over here at Cosmos. Thank you for joining our Cosmos reporting session today. Really appreciate the time, and we're excited to be a part of another amazing and informative Stoneridge Connect conference again this year. Always a pleasure. For today, I'll be taking you through an overview of Cosmos, where we'll cover everything that our modern platform has to offer in order to make reporting off of your Business Central data easier, more robust, and efficient in both Excel and Power BI. We've got a lot to cover today, so let's jump right in. The way that I like to describe Cosmos is that we are the first and only fully cloud-based reporting and analytics platform that was born in the cloud and built specifically for Business Central Cloud. And that will be a common theme throughout our presentation today. A little bit about me. That is me up there on the screen, of course. My name is Andrew Pearson, and I'm a senior channel manager over at Cosmos. I've been in the Microsoft channel for the better part of a decade, working with partners and their customers alike, specifically on getting better with reporting and analytics out of Dynamics Business Central. Now, in an abbreviated agenda today, we'll talk a little bit about us as a company over here at Cosmos, and then we'll run through about four main areas in Cosmos, namely the portal, the report editor, our two-way Power BI integration, as well as our Cosmos data engine during our solutions overview during the demonstration. Now, a little bit about us over here. I mentioned previously, I've been in the space for the better part of a decade, right? And so has everyone else over here at Cosmos. We were founded by industry vets who worked specifically with reporting and analytics. And, that gives us a decades of experience across the board, right? So the story is that years back, when we were all working together at a former reporting tool, we heard from customers and partners the challenges that were happening as Microsoft was moving people off on-premise legacy ERP into Business Central Cloud. When it came to reporting, a lot of that was around performance. Also, hey, we need something that's a little bit takes more of a modern approach to reporting. And that's when we came together and got the gang back together, realized nothing was out there. So we built Cosmos. We built this platform to be incredibly performant when it comes to reporting off of Business Central Cloud. And we also took a modern forward approach when it comes to, making this much easier for business users to, get their hands around, get their heads around and use in both Excel and Power BI. So those are the two main reasons why we built this solution. Now, I was talking a little bit about performance, right? And our reports are lightning fast. We've actually benchmarked our reports at running 48 times faster on average than other Excel reporting solutions, and we're really proud of that fact. Now, I mentioned we'll go through four different areas of Cosmos, right? We're going to start off in the Cosmos portal. This is where you're going to log in for the day and do everything within Cosmos. You'll run reports from here. You'll also toggle on filters within reports. This is where you'll be able to drill down in the transactional detail, as well as schedule reports to run and distribute automatically throughout the organization. You'll also do your admin stuff here, like, assigning users, roles, permissions. You'll get to your Power BI dashboards here. Really, everything happens in one place here in the portal when it comes to reporting and analytics in Cosmos. Next, we'll talk about the report editor. It is how it sounds, right? So think of this as your conduit to all of your Business Central data right inside of Excel, a familiar environment of Excel. We've made it so that it's more of a point and click report design experience, no more copy and pasting information into Excel and then, modifying it from there. These are going to be living and breathing reports, and you're going to author them directly in Excel. Now, we're never going away from Excel when it comes to board reports, financials, and just that row and column format. But in tandem to that, we also have a two-way integration to Microsoft's data visualization tool, Power BI. Okay, so as a complementary tool, this is great, right? So it allows you to use your data and see it more visually. Now, there's a huge challenge at the front end where it becomes a technical exercise. We've eliminated all that. You don't have to be a SQL or DAX expert. We've already created the data models in Cosmos that Power BI loves to ingest, those relational data sets. So we're delivering them. You're dragging and dropping your information, building out dashboards, and then we're also returning those dashboards back into the Cosmos portal. That way you have the best of both worlds, right? Excel reports, your Power BI dashboards, and you're off and running, okay? So two flavors of reporting we integrate with, Excel and Power BI. Lastly, we'll talk about the Cosmos data engine. This is what's underneath the hood, what drives Cosmos, okay? So when it comes to performance, we take your data, put it into that Azure data warehouse, and that's what drives the performance. We're also cleaning the data, right? Making it, normalized for the business users so that everything is much easier to decipher when you're building out reports. And that's what the Cosmos data engine really drives. So we'll touch base on that towards the end here. Now, I'm going to jump into Cosmos for the solution overview and get out of my PowerPoint. As you can see up here on the screen, I'm here in Cosmos. Anywhere you have access to a web browser, be it your phone, a tablet, I'm here on my PC today, my workstation, you'll have access to your reports and your dashboards and everything in Cosmos. I'm going to go ahead and log in. And when I log in, I'm actually using my Microsoft credentials. So I'm using the same ones I would for the Microsoft stack, Teams and Business Central. We're very tightly integrated there. As you can see, for me, because I'm a main admin in my demo tenant, it takes me to my administration section. You can manage all of your users, roles, permissions from here. We have two types of licensing. Full users can do anything in Cosmos, namely get to the data, build things out. Light users can only see reports that have been shared with them, and they can interact with those reports. Okay. Switching gears here into the reporting section, you'll notice that, this is my report library, right? So I'll only be able to see reports that have been shared with me or ones that I've built. So it's not a company-wide free-for-all. As you can see, I have access to a lot of them. That's because I have to demo these and show them during educational sessions, but don't worry, it is not a free-for-all. And we'll talk about security in a moment. The first thing I'll draw your attention to up here is the report gallery. Okay, so as part of the 25-minute onboarding with Cosmos, you'll have access to about 3 dozen pre-built reports that will work against BC from day one. AP, AR, sales, core financials, inventory, purchasing, all of these are out of the box, and it gives our customers a huge head start when it comes to reporting. You can import any or all of these into your library, and you can modify these to specifications for your business as well. Okay, so huge head start. I like to call this icing on the cake, where the big value here is being able to ad hoc report and build anything out that you need to. Now, I want to take you on 2 different tracks, okay? The first track being like a light user experience. In, running a report, maybe I log in for the day and I have a meeting later and I need to do a little bit of analysis. The second one is going to be a full user experience where I've been tasked with building out a report, okay? So let's go ahead and maybe I log in for the day. I have that meeting. I need to run a report, do some analysis, and bring that information back. So let's go ahead and run this income statement by company. I can hit the play button here or the run button. It's going to pull up over here my report runs. As you can see, I have a date range filter here. Of course, we just have one report option built in. You could have many, right? Dimension, department, whatever it might be. For example's sake, I'll just run this for the month of June 2024. And when I run this report, you'll notice that I'm running this in the cloud. We're not using Excel to run the report. Doing that, causes issues with performance, right? You can be locked out of Excel. You're at the mercy of Excel's order of operations. Here, I can run all 8 of these reports simultaneously up here in the cloud. Everything's going to complete and be finished, on time. So of course it's spinning a little bit here because I'm on a live demo, but typically these take a couple seconds sometimes, and if it's my internet, it could be that issue, but we'll kind of move along here, and there it goes. So we're finished with this report here in a couple seconds, and then it gives me an option here to run it or to open it in Excel desktop. If I prefer to work there, I certainly can, or I can open it up in Excel Online. So we'll go ahead and do that. It's going to open up a nice little clean income statement. As you can see, it's just, a more, detailed income statement here with our accounts listed out. We have our category, the account name, 2 companies within columns in our report, our totals, a few different sections, COGS, expenses, revenue, down to net income. This is just one version of a million different ways we can set this thing up though. Okay, just want to let you know that this is just an example report. So one of the things that users really love is to be able to like have that visibility into both how the reports, plumbing up, as well as that transactional detail drill down. Okay. So for example, if I come in here and I'm doing that analysis, this 682,000 seems just a little bit high to me, right? It's not passing the eye test. So we've never had that many sales out of our Cosmos Canada for foreign. Let's take a peek at what's going on. Cosmos gives you the visibility into the plumbing of the report first. So it tells me I'm summing up the amounts from my GL transactions table. I can take it a little bit further down here and see the filters. We're filtering off the GL account number 44200, which checks out, right? The company is going to be Cosmos Canada. And then finally, we're pulling in information for the month of June 2024. So the plumbing looks good for the report. Let's go ahead and take a deeper dive, okay? Let's go up into viewing and hit drill down. And what this is going to do is it's going to generate a brand new Excel online sheet with a comprehensive view of everything in Business Central that makes up that total, okay? The reason we took that approach is because that number can be made up of many different areas in Business Central. So we wanted to give you a holistic view. And that holistic view is up here across the top, which I'll highlight for you. Everything is going to be pre-filtered. You're in Excel, so if F, G, and H don't make sense for your analysis, I can certainly hide these or take these columns away. I can grab everything, throw it into a pivot table if that's how I like to analyze my numbers. But the idea is that, that number seemed high. Let's filter through these amounts. Let's see if somebody may have, double entry to number or there's an extra zero. I can take any of these kind of descriptors over here, right? Go back into BC, which is going to be on the next tab over, drop that in, and then go ahead and make any edits that I need to do. So again, we have, visibility into the plumbing of my report. How's that pulling information in? And then we also have that deeper, holistic, transactional detail level view here for drill down. Now, I'm going to pop out of this and switch gears and get back into my portal. There's a couple of different pieces that I want to show you here that our customers use on a daily basis. Security, very important, right? So let's say I just built this report and I want to share it out to Aaliyah and Jane. They're on my finance team, right? But Brian might not be on my finance team any longer. Maybe he went to sales, right? So I can uncheck his box. He logs in. He will have no idea this report ever existed. Whereas Aaliyah and Jane, when they log in, they'll have access to the report, can run it, drill down, do all that good stuff. So we have security built into any report that you're building in Cosmos. Now, second to that, we also have a scheduler. Okay, this is a cloud-based scheduler. You can run as many different schedules as you want. Maybe I'll call this like month and financials. And I can choose specific days, maybe Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 6 a.m. I want this to shoot out to, this report package to whoever I need to. It's the last day of the month, right? Month end financials. I can choose that option. You can get really granular here. But to send this out, these are my Cosmos licensed users. I can simply just check the boxes here and it's going to send it out to these users. But what's cool is you don't even have to have a Cosmos license to receive a report. You can simply just type in their email address here. They're going to get a copy of the report, which they can review and see the report. Okay, so both ways can get really granular here, and it's fully cloud-based, so it will always run. All right. So that was more of like a light user track, right? Now I want to go through what it would be like to be a full user, and I've been tasked with building out a report. So I log into my Cosmos portal. I've landed here. I come up here to my new report and I give it a name. Let's do like monthly sales by salesperson report, right? Because we just looked at a financial. Let's take a peek at what it's like to write an operational report. I can check this out in Excel desktop. Again, if I prefer to work there and author my reports, I certainly can. We default to Excel Online. And another consideration is we work on the Mac iOS version of Excel as well. So anyone using a Mac still need to report and run reports. You can still use Cosmos. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and create this report. It's going to open up a brand new sheet up here in Excel Online, basically a blank slate for me to begin authoring my report. Again, this is from scratch, right? So once I finish building this report, It's going to be a living and breathing document in my report library that I can refresh. We'll do monthly sales by salesperson report. And what do I want to bring into this report? Maybe I want to bring in customer number, right? Maybe I want to bring in the name of those customers, the city, the state, and the country they're in. And I want my months across the top. Now, this is where I can, format to my heart's content, right? Give it a header. You can put in conditional formatting, anything you want to do, custom or your organizational logo, whatever it might be. I'm just going to clean this up just a little bit to make it look nice for you and give myself some space. Now I realized I just spelled customer number wrong. So let's go ahead and fix that. That will bother me. All right. So I put in the bones of my report, basically the template. One thing that's cool about Cosmos is I can actually click out of this, right? Maybe I get called away and I'm back in my workspace or my work in progress. Okay. So you can always pick up where you left off, just log back in. It's going to be sitting here in my work in progress area and I can edit this report. Now it's pulled back my report. This is what I was, set up just previously before I got called away to my meeting. And we're back here. I can go to Cosmos up here, open up my task pane, and this is that report editor that I was talking about previously, right? This is a simple set of tools that you're going to use to drive and author the report. What's cool about this is it's agnostic across what type of report you're building. I'm building a sales report, operational here. It doesn't matter if I was building a financial or an operational report. You're using the same set of tools, the same methodology and sequence. So that really cuts down on the learning curve that it takes to use Cosmos. We did that intentionally, right? Wanted to make this very approachable off of our website. So this is not meant to be a training, but we do have full training videos and knowledge base off of our website. You can go poke around. Videos for everything to do in Cosmos and a searchable knowledge base for how do you write reports, so on and so forth. So a lot of effort went into this and it's on demand for anyone to see. Now let's start building this report out. Let's start with a report option or a filter, right? The first thing I want you to notice is how nice and clean the data is, right? So it's in that relational data set format. You're not searching through, 1,700 tables, 53,000 Business Central fields. They're all easy to decipher here. It allows me to do things like if I want to put in a year filter, I can type to find anything. I found year here and I want to drop that in as a filter. I'll put in a default date of 2025. I can always toggle on that when I run the report. Now you just rinse and repeat. If I wanted to add it in a report filter for dimension or salesperson, department, whatever it might be, you just click new, find that option and drop it in. For time's sake, I'll just add in the year filter. Now I'm just going to go down, the line here, and I'm going to use what's called sheet lists. Now sheet lists aren't a requirement for every report, but I want to show you this functionality because we're going to do a monthly salesperson report. Maybe I want a different salesperson on a different sheet here across the bottom. That's what sheet list is going to allow me to do. So I click new sheet list, I can scroll down, I can go to my sales transactions, and I can go ahead and find my salesperson code and drop that in, okay? Now when I run the report, I'm gonna have a different salesperson along the bottom. One cool piece of kind of functionality here is what's called child sheets, okay? So the concept here is that maybe I want sheet one to be a summary of all sales across all of my companies within, BC. Okay, the next sheet below, maybe I want that to be by location, and then the next one underneath that by department. So it gives me that like parent-child relationship all rolling up to that summary sheet. That's what the child sheet functionality does for me. And it's a very widely used concept here. I'm just going to go ahead and click save here for that one level of sheet, and I'm going to go down to range lists. Range lists is what's driving, bringing data into my report. I grab the shape of a row because I'm going to return information going down this way in rows, and I click new range list. What do I want to bring in? I want to grab my sales transactions and get my bill to customers for my sales report. Could be sell to customer, vendor. For this example, I'm using bill to customer. Simply click save. And I want to do one more range list, right? So I want my months going out across columns, across the top, and I want to return information that way. Grab the shape of a column, go ahead and click new, and I can find months just by typing it in. Bringing up my date table here, I can grab my months of the year, I'm going to take away sorting. That might look a little strange with my months alphabetical, and click Save. And now I want to bring in information for my Bill.to customers. So I just go down the line, find field lookups. If you've never used Cosmos before, it's directing you to the information I need for my report, right? My sales transactions table. I'm going to scroll down, find my Bill.to customer, and I'm going to start dropping in information. I want my customer name. I want the city that they're in. I want to come down here, grab the state, and then finally the country name. Okay. To wrap this report up, I want to use what's called aggregates, or summing up the totals, right? So I click aggregates, new aggregate. I want to sum up the total of my sales for each month of the year. I just simply go to sales transactions, scroll down, find my sales, and click sum. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and click save and finish up this report. Total sales, right? Total sales. And then I'm going to do just a simple Excel calculation, sum that up. And I'm going to finish up with a little bit of formatting, almighty top and double bottom border, and some dollar signs. Okay, we're completely finished with this report now. In a real life example, I can preview this report. When I preview this report, it's going to run a finished version of that report up in a new tab in Excel Online. I can drag that over to my other monitor. I can be in both the editing mode as well as viewing mode at the same time. So maybe I need to make an edit because I see that something might be off. I can go ahead and do that here. So you don't have to flip back and forth between design and view mode. Here's that report that I just built. Okay. You can drop in a company logo here, whatever you see fit. I'm going to go ahead and drop it into my production reports blank. That'll make it easier to find for me. So once I do that, I can go ahead and scroll down. Here's that report. I'll go ahead and hit play. And here's that year filter, right? I can always toggle on this. You can do multiple years, year over year, whatever you want. I'll just change it to 2024. And note when I run this report, I'm actually running 8 different reports. I'm running a report for each of my salespeople in Business Central and their monthly totals. So once this finishes in just a couple seconds, it'll give me that option where I can open it up in Excel Online, or I can open it up in Desktop. Here's all my reports. I'll open this up. We have our nice clean little monthly sales by salesperson report. We have our months across the top, the information we brought in, and our totals along the bottom, right, for each of my salespeople here. All right, so that's the idea to build a report in Excel using Cosmos. Let's kind of get out of the Excel side of things. And, I mentioned we also integrate with Power BI. We have that two-way Power BI integration. So I'm going to pop up Power BI here and just, build visuals with my data as it says right here. What's really cool is that we're delivering those nice relational data sets into Power BI automatically. And what that does is it eliminates all of the DAX and SQL coding you have to, build in order to get your data in this format. From day one, you're just dropping these down. This would be your information. And I'm just dropping in sales. I want to see that by salesperson code, right? In a donut chart. Maybe I want to see total sales by the items that we sell. So I'll just drop in item category description. So now we have a dashboard going. And then maybe I want to see total sales by maybe the different states that we're selling into. So I can drop that in and I want to see that in a map view. Okay, so in just a couple seconds, right off the bat, I built out a nice little dashboard, a nice little sales dashboard. And something that's a little further along, I put in a title here. I added in some slicers, right? Maybe I want to see February. I want to see Armando's numbers. How's he doing with cell phones and accessories, right? So what we're doing is skipping to the head of the line. We're delivering nice, clean relational data sets off your data from BC right into Power BI, and you're building dashboards on day one. Now you can publish this back up into Power BI Online if you'd like. You can embed these back into Teams, right, into BC. But what's really cool about this is that because we're logged in using our Microsoft credentials, we can also deliver this Power BI dashboard back into Cosmos, right? So you're in a meeting. You want to be able to show your Excel reports as well as your Power BI reports. You can absolutely do that. Let's go ahead and open up this Power BI dashboard directly from the portal here. And everything's still going to be interactive, right? So I can poke through this. In April, we did, 4.7 million in sales. Perfect. You can see KPIs and trends here. And the last kind of piece that I want to talk about is that this 52.95 million, That's going to match up with whatever is in Excel. So you've built a sales report in Excel, they're going to tie together. You will never be in a meeting saying, well, Excel said 20 million, this Power BI dashboard said 52 million. What the heck is going on, right? So that's really nice. It's pulling from the same area and you won't run into those challenges. So best of both worlds. You have your Excel reports, you have Power BI all under the same hood. Lastly here, I want to talk about data management. And I want to kind of preface this with not everyone's going to have access to this area or even know it exists. But as part of that 25-minute onboarding that I mentioned before, we're going up into Microsoft's app source. We have an app published and validated by Microsoft where we'll, onboard you, and it kind of connects to your BC tenant, right? That's how we talk to it. Will help you, enable data for different companies within BC if you have a test environment, things like that. And if I scroll down here, I want to kind of point your attention to the report gallery or the extension gallery. So very similarly to the report gallery, we have an extension gallery. Decades of experience has allowed us to, package up different pieces like the AP, AR, general ledger, inventory, purchasing, sales. These are, widely used pretty commonly between different organizations. So we're able to package that up, pretty much whatever you need to report from right there. You would import any or all of these into Cosmos from your data. And what that does is snap together to form a nice clean data model, one that I was using in Excel and parts of that in Power BI just a moment ago. But what's really cool is I was using that sales transactions table and it had all the information that I needed as a report writer. I just found sales transactions. It's actually made up of 8 different Business Central tables. Okay, so you don't have to be a database expert. All of that hard work is done for you on the back end. Now, of course, this is all modifiable. If you have like custom tables fields, you can absolutely bring that in. They're brought in automatically. So if I go to staging, I'll show you that. We're bringing in everything from BC, custom tables, fields. If you have other ISV add-ons, their custom fields, tables, extensions, all of that's brought in. I can simply, check the boxes here and bring in those additional tables here. Everything's going to be ready. Maybe I want to bring app ID, app name, and tie that into my reporting database. That's all you do. It's all point and click back here. Okay. So if I've made any of those changes into the data model, what I would do is I would publish the pipeline, which, Cosmos goes in, grabs everything, and returns that into your reporting database. And in addition to that, last but not least, we are running on an Azure data warehouse. That's what drives the performance of Cosmos, right? And also the ease of use, point and click in Excel, drag and drop in Power BI. We need to refresh the data. Okay, so currently you can schedule Cosmos to go in and incrementally refresh your Business Central data a few times a day. And then you also have the ability to run the pipeline and refresh your data on demand. Okay, so that is really what I had for you today, right? So we went through the reporting side of things in Excel, how we're connected and your conduit to your data in Excel, how we integrate with Power BI on that two-way, delivering data in, also delivering the dashboards out. And then we talked through data management. Okay, so that was a lot of stuff all at once. But I implore you, if you have any questions, want to take a deeper dive, please feel free to reach out to your Stoneridge representative or myself, and we're happy to help. It was a pleasure to hang out with you all today, for our Cosmos overview. And again, thanks so much for your time. And I really, really hope that you enjoy the rest of your conference. Have a great rest of your day, and I will talk to you soon. Thank you. Bye.